President Trump is set to address the nation in prime time after just announcing a new timeline when it comes to the war in Iran. I'm Caitlin Collins, and this is The Source. There is breaking news as we come on the air tonight, as the White House has just announced that President Trump will address the nation tomorrow night during what the press secretary describes as a, quote, important update on Iran. It will be his first formal address to the American people about the war since he started and launched it several weeks ago. As the White House says, he is going to speak right at 9 p.m. here in Washington from the White House. And we, of course, will have his remarks for you live here on CNN. That announcement comes as the president today set a new timeline when it comes to when this war could end.
I would say that within 2 weeks, maybe 3. We're hitting them very hard. Last night we knocked out tremendous amounts of missile-making facilities. As you probably read or wrote, we knocked out. Excuse me?
Pardon me for interrupting. The U.S. will be gone or done with the war in 2
I
or 3
think
weeks?
2 or 3 weeks.
Not 3 weeks. If it is
we'll
3
leave
weeks,
because there's no reason for us to do this.
That notably, if the president sticks to the 2 to 3 more weeks, would extend the war a bit longer than what the president has said repeatedly.
We're already substantially ahead of our time projections, but whatever the time is, it's okay. Whatever it takes, we will always. And we have, right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks.
Now we're right at that 4 to 5 week mark at this moment. And while the president mused again today about leaving without resolving the Strait of Hormuz, and then instead leaving it for Europe and China to deal with, that would also potentially mean leaving oil prices at the mercy of Iran's chokehold on the strait. Today, gas prices in the United States topped $4 a gallon, something the president says will all be over quite soon.
what is the plan to bring them back down?
All I have to do is leave Iran, and we'll be doing that very soon, and they'll become tumbling down.
President saying there that he believes gas prices will come tumbling down as soon as the war in Iran is over. He's also touting U.S. talks with what he is describing as a, quote, new and much better Iranian regime. It's worth comparing how the president and the defense secretary have been speaking about what they describe as this new regime with how Secretary of State Marco Rubio did.
Does Iran have to make a deal for the U.S. to end its operation in Iran? And have you spoken, and have you spoken directly?
Iran doesn't have to make a deal, no. Yeah, I've spoken to a lot of people. It's a new regime. They are much more accessible. The leadership we're dealing with now with the new regime, because we have a new regime, and the new regime is much better than the past.
This new regime, because regime change has occurred, should be wiser than the last. President Trump will make a deal he is willing, and the terms of the deal are known to them.
It's very opaque right now. It's not quite clear how decisions are being made inside of Iran.
My lead source tonight is our global affairs analyst, Brett McGurk, who has served as the Middle East and North Africa coordinator on the National Security Council. And Brett, obviously with this news that the president is going to be addressing the nation tomorrow night in prime time, you know, he's spoken extensively about the war in Q&A sessions and phone interviews with reporters. What do you expect to hear from him? What are you going to be listening for tomorrow night?
I think Caitlin is very good. I think President should sit behind the Resolute desk in the Oval Office, address the American people when it comes to war and peace. I think it's what the American people expect. You know, it's not old-fashioned. It's what presidents should do and explain exactly what we're doing. So I think this is a little overdue. The fact that he said 2 to 3 weeks, I think, is significant. That brings it towards the end of April. That does extend the timeline. It's hard to put a timeline, though, on a military operation. Iran still has a vote in this, but that means potentially 2 to 3 more weeks of military operations. Now, that can be quite significant. We have total air dominance over Iran. There's an awful lot that our military is doing. I think Iran is their defense industrial base, their missiles, their drones, not insignificant what we are doing. It's very important. I think it's strategic, and we can do a lot more in 2 to 3 weeks. Now, a lot of things can go wrong in 2 to 3 weeks. This is inherently risky, but if you're going to want to try to buy that time, you have to explain to the American people exactly what we're going to try to achieve and what we're doing. So I'm hoping that this address is focused and clear in the objectives and explains exactly what we've done and what we look to achieve in this additional time.
Because right now we're just at like the 4 to 5 week period. I mean, I've seen the president's supporters talking online about next Tuesday, they believe, is right at that 6 week period, the extent initially. So if he does go 2 to 3 more weeks, we would see this go on longer than what initially the White House had said.
Yeah, I think early on, and again, because there wasn't that initial address up front about here's exactly what we're going to achieve and preparing the American people, this might go on for some time. I think there was a lot of questions about exactly what we're doing. So again, it's overdue. Now, I would just say, Caitlin, I mean, Marco Rubio, I think, has made the case effectively about Iran's missile and drone program. This program has just advanced to such a degree, and you're seeing what Iran has done with the missiles and drones. And we're on the precipice of, like, this is a new hybrid terrorism war. It's happening before our eyes. Iran's drone program and missiles, they've proliferated them to Russia. Without Iran's drone technology, Russia could not prosecute its war in Ukraine like it's doing. Proliferated to the Houthis in Yemen, which shut down the Red Sea back in 2023, 2024. It's a massive problem. And so this drone, missile, hybrid warfare, attacking civilian targets, swarms, it's upon us. And I think taking Iran off the board when it comes to that production, which is one of the main objectives, is very important. But then we're going to have to stay at it. This is like coming at us fast, and China's a part of this. So there's a big strategic picture here that I hope the president can kind of back up and explain. Here's why we had to do this. Here's what we've done. Here's what we think we've achieved. And here's how we hope it comes to a conclusion over the coming weeks.
So you believe there's a case to be made tomorrow night. He just needs to make it effectively.
I do. I think, look, might have done some things differently, but the core issue here when it comes to Iran, and you've seen administration officials make it, but just make it very clearly. Their missile program and their drone program, Caitlin, has expanded over the last decade, expanded to such an extent. It's called an anti-access area denial program. They can target our bases. They can make sure that they can shut down shipping lanes. Their missiles can go farther, carry heavier payloads, and they're extremely accurate. That was not what Iran had, say, 10 years ago. And you add on top of it this drone program with the Shahed drones that can fly 1,000 miles with technology that can proliferate all around the region and to Russia, big problem. So if you can actually take that entire industrial base away so that Iran can really not rebuild it, and it looks like that's what we're doing, we're completely devastating that, that's important. And then the nuclear is a whole other issue, which I think has also been set back. So I think you can make the case, why we did this, but also make a case that we hope is going to come to a conclusion over the coming weeks and where we hope to leave things, because the Strait of Hormuz remains a huge issue.
Well, and on the timeline, there's something that Nikki Haley, who was Trump's ambassador to the United Nations, obviously later ran for the nomination, said today about ending this war too soon, in her view.
I think leaving now would make Iran stronger, because then they would have control over all of the ships. Right now, they're only allowing Pakistani and Russian ships pretty much to go through, and they're charging for it. So it would allow them to have the money again to do the proxies, to build the ballistic missiles back, to do the nuclear production. And I think that presidents come too far to stop now. I think you finish it.
What do you make of that argument, which I've heard from a lot of the president's allies?
On the merits, Strait of Hormuz right now is a huge problem. We cannot have an outcome in which Iran is controlling the Strait of Hormuz, but that's easier said than done. I think when you get in the Situation Room, you're sitting with your military advisors, what are our options? And because of this drone hybrid warfare that we're seeing, the Iranians can fire drones from 1,000 miles away from the Hormuz Mountains and harass shipping if they want to. So long as they have the drones, until they run out of them, they can continue to do this stuff. They can drop mines in the water. It's a very difficult military strategic equation. Again, I dealt with this in the Red Sea with the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. So I'm sure our commanders are presenting options to the president. They're probably very difficult options. And the president's saying, hey, it's not just my problem, it's the world's problem. But look, Iran is being significantly weakened. I thought also something Secretary Rubio said about what is happening inside Tehran, Caitlin, we probably really don't know. And I think there's some people sending messages. That's why you're getting these mixed signals. We'll have to see who's really in charge. Is Muqtada, the supreme leader, even alive? We actually don't know. So there's a lot to play out here. And I hope if the president just lay out, here's what we've done, here's what we know, here's what we hope this is going. But to just say the Strait of Hormuz is no longer our responsibility, we're walking away from it after it was our action that caused this current problem, I don't really think that's acceptable. We have to figure out a way to get that under control.
Yeah, we'll see what he says about it tomorrow night. Brett McGurk, thank you for that. And of course, Americans will be tuning in tomorrow. Americans who have been paying a lot more at the pump lately since this war started. Gas prices in the United States have now hit an average of $4 a gallon today, which is why President Trump is now saying this about one of the main reasons for that, as Brett was just referencing, Iran's chokehold on that narrow passage that is in charge of 20% of the world's oil.
Look, problem with the Strait, a guy can take a mine, drop it in the water, and say, oh, it's unsafe. It's not like you're taking out an army or you're taking out a country, or they can drop it. Or you can take a machine gun from the shore and shoot a few bullets at a ship, or maybe an over-the-shoulder missile, small missiles. That's not for us. That'll be for France. That'll be for whoever's using the Strait. But I think when we leave, probably that's all cleared up. Today I heard tremendous numbers of ships were sailing through. We're negotiating with them right now, but if they come to the table, that'll be good. But it doesn't matter whether they come or not. We've set them back. It'll take 15 to 20 years for them to rebuild what we've done to them.
And joining me now is Democratic Congressman Pat Ryan of New York, who is an Iraq War veteran and also a member of the Armed Services Committee. And thank you for being here, sir. Obviously, you and I spoke, I think, the day this war started, about a month ago. Now that we're a month in, the president is set to address the nation in prime time tomorrow night. What do you want to hear from him?
What we've wanted to hear from the beginning, which is, what is the plan? What is our objective? Why have we already expended 13 lives of brave young Americans? Why have we expended billions of dollars, our blood and our treasure being spent? And he has not even tried to make the case to the American people despite multiple options. So I hope we hear that.
Are you receptive to hearing that tomorrow night? Do you think he could come out and effectively lay something out that you agree with?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I want our country to win and succeed and be strong. I want our troops to be safe. I want gas prices to go down. I want housing and healthcare prices and food prices to go down as well. That's what my constituents want. So I think he needs to speak to all of that. But he does owe an answer for now, 5 weeks in, why he's insulted the American people by not trying to make the case, why he is spending our blood and our treasure there, and what he's going to do to get us out of the situation. And it cannot be abandoning and leaving a huge mess in its place. And I do fear, and I think we can objectively say, a more dangerous Iran. While their military capabilities have been degraded, their intent now, having seen what we've done, I think the risk of them racing for breakout is much higher than it was, unfortunately and dangerously, a month ago.
I mean, given your experience as a veteran, why do you think that they would be more dangerous if, as Brett was just noting, if the United States has significantly degraded their drone capability, their missile capability, their ability to build those and create those? I mean, some people might look at that and say, well, how could they be more dangerous if they don't have access to that?
A crude analogy, but it's mowing the grass. My grass is going to continue to grow. If I continue to mow it, it will get cut, but it will grow again. Their ability, specifically with these asymmetric commercial drone, $5,000–6,000 price point drones, they can rapidly reconstitute. Russia's and China as well have the ability to send that to them and other adversaries of ours. So a threat is capability and intent. We are degrading their capability thanks to the exceptional capacity and heroism of our military. But that doesn't translate necessarily to their intention. And now you have a new supreme leader who I think is going to be more emboldened, frankly, more pissed off. And what are we going to do to keep the American people safe?
Well, and the president has been trying to potentially come to an agreement. He's talking about this new regime as he's describing it. He also said tonight that whether we have a deal or not, it is irrelevant. Do you agree, or do you think there needs to be an agreement between the United States and Iran?
The way that every war has ever ended in the history of humankind is some sort of negotiated agreement, going back to the beginning of recorded history. So I don't know how he could expect it to end any other way. And by the way, I think it's important to say, while he's talking about what he's going to, or saying he's going to speak tomorrow night, we have troops coming from across all corners of the globe Marine Expeditionary Units, Infantry Brigade Combat Teams, Special Operations Forces. We've dramatically escalated on the ground. So it's one thing what he says, which changes often hour by hour, as you know. It's different what he's actually doing. And the Iranians are seeing us escalate in every dimension of this. So it's really unclear what's happening here. And I got an email today from a mom in my district who has one of her son over there right now. And she basically said, like, what is the plan? I'm very worried.
And what did you say back to her?
I said, I can't give you a good answer. I actually asked in a classified armed services committee hearing last week, what should I say to the family of folks that are in those formations? And a very senior military official, uniformed military official, could not give me an answer of what the plan is for those folks that are being sent into harm's way right now.
Would you be comfortable if the war ended tonight, or do you think that the Strait of Hormuz issue and who controls that needs to be resolved first?
Well, it's not just me, it's my constituents, it's the American people that have seen gas prices skyrocket, which no one can afford, fertilizer, helium, other critical things that we need. So you can't just put this all back in a box magically, and it could potentially take months or longer for all those costs to come down and the impact. So to be clear, I want this war to end. I want our troops to come home. I want us to be safe, and I want costs to go down. But the president can't just wish that into fruition. There actually has to be a coherent strategy to get there, and I hope he does lay that out tomorrow night. I've never seen him do it to this point, but I hope that he does.